Welcome, dreamer, to Evernight Stories, where each tale drifts softly into your dreams. I'm your host, Rowan. Settle in, slow your breath, and let the night begin. Before we begin, if these calm moments mean something to you, consider subscribing so the next story finds you easily. Tonight, the rain falls softly through branches older than stories. A hush settles over the world, the kind that asks nothing of you except to breathe, in and out. Let the day slip away like mist between trees. We're traveling now to a forest that once closed its eyes for 100 quiet years. Not out of fear, not out of sorrow, but out of love. This is the tale of a place that learned to dream. The forest breathes beneath the night. Fog drifts low, curling around the roots of ancient oaks. Above, silver clouds drift across a pale moon, dimming its light to a gentle glow. Every sound is softened, rain tapping on leaves, wind sighing along moss-covered trunks, the slow heartbeat of the earth itself. We, the forest, remember everything. We remember seasons, turning like pages in a forgotten book. We remember footsteps that once wandered here, light, curious, unafraid. And we remember the moment silence settled upon us like a soft blanket long ago when time itself chose to rest. Tonight, that memory stirs again. The trees stand tall, still and watchful. Their branches arch over the old stone path, weaving a vaulted ceiling of leaves and shadow. The path leads to a tower, hidden deep within our embrace, its windows dark, its stones wrapped in spirals of ivy that gleam with rain. A lantern hangs just inside the narrow window, its flame no larger than a sigh. We have kept it lit for a century. A promise, a vigil. The scent of wet pine mingles with the sweetness of damp earth. A fox moves quietly across fallen needles, pausing as though listening to our thoughts. Above, an owl glides between branches, wings brushing the air without a sound. Night is gentle here. It has been gentle for 100 years. We carry the stillness carefully, the way one protects a sleeping child. For inside that quiet tower lies a girl who has not stirred in a lifetime. Her breath is soft as candle smoke. Her dreams float through us like drifting pollen light, warm, unhurried. We are her cradle, her guardian, her blanket of seasons. And though the world outside has changed, rushed, forgotten, we have not. Far beyond our treetops, distant bells sometimes whisper on the wind. Villagers long ago stopped walking this way. Kings sent armies to find the path, but we brushed their memories like leaves from a coat, and they turned back before stepping too deep. Only those with quiet hearts ever find this place. Tonight, even the moon seems to hold its breath. Rain runs in thin silver lines down the tower's stone, gathering in small pools on the ledge. Inside, the lantern flickers, steady, patient, alive. The forest hums softly. We feel the shifting of something long awaited, like the first ripple forming beneath a frozen stream. The kind of change that does not hurry, does not shine, does not shout. The kind that begins in silence. For now, all remains calm. The girl sleeps in her quiet room. The trees keep watch, and the forest, we simply breathe. We remember the night the world grew quiet. It began gently like a breath settling deeper into the chest of the forest. One moment, wind curled through our branches, carrying the smells of hearth fire and drifting bread from the village. The next, it softened into stillness, as if soothed by an invisible hand. Nothing startled, nothing broke. Everything simply slowed. The river was the first to feel it. Its bright chatter dimmed to a murmur, then to a long, steady sigh. The surface smoothed until it held the moon like a silver coin, unbroken by ripple or rush. A bird rose from one of our branches, wings wide, heart drumming with life. Then even the air around it hushed, and the bird hung there, weightless, its feathers caught in a moment that refused to move forward or back. Not trapped, only resting, suspended in grace. The stillness drifted outward, through oak and ash, through root and stone, until it reached the old tower at our heart. We had always watched that tower. It stood where our canopy opened just enough for starlight to touch its highest window. Tonight, that window glowed with a single lantern. Its flame trembled once, then steadied, committing itself to a long vigil. Inside, the girl lay down to sleep. We remember the softness of the pillow beneath her cheek, the faint scent of lavender. Her breath evened into a slow rhythm, like waves folding over themselves. When her dreams drifted outward, they touched us gently, memories of laughter, of warm kitchens, of sunlight settling on a wooden floor. We held those dreams as carefully as sunlight, stored in tree rings. Around her tower, vines stirred. They paused in their usual climb, then began to weave themselves in slower, more deliberate patterns, curving over stone, framing windows, sheltering the doorway from wind and storm. They grew not as barriers, but as blankets. We did the same. Our roots thickened beneath the earth, branching around the tower like open arms. Moss deepened over fallen stones. Leaves softened the ground beneath the windowsill. Seasons turned. Snow gathered in white hush across our branches, bending them but never breaking them. We shook it loose gently, where it threatened to fall too heavily near her room. When spring returned, green unfurled in whispering spirals, slow, intentional, reverent. The girl slept on. Her chest rose and fell like distant tides, steady, unhurried. She did not dream of fear. She dreamed of warmth, and we listened. Beyond our borders, years rushed past. Villages grew. Roads changed. Stories were told of a hidden forest where time lost its way, where a young woman slept under the protection of ancient trees. Some called it a curse. Others called it a blessing. Most simply forgot. But once in a great while, footsteps approached. A traveler, a wanderer, a soul searching for something unnamed. When they reached our shadow, we listened closely. If their hearts beat with greed or conquest, we guided them aside, a root lifting gently beneath their path, a branch leaning across the way, a feeling in the chest urging them to turn back. If they carried wonder instead of fear, we let them step a little deeper, just enough to feel the calm, just enough to hear the tower's lantern flicker through the trees, never far enough to disturb the girl's rest. We were not guarding her from harm. We were guarding her peace. As decades layered into a century, the stillness became part of us. It did not feel like waiting. It felt like holding, like keeping a promise we never had to speak aloud. And beneath roots and stone, beneath ivy and moonlight, we sensed a truth older than our trunks. No sleep is timeless. Even the gentlest dream will someday stir. Not abruptly, not with noise, but like dawn behind closed eyes. Soft, inevitable, warm. We felt that warmth beginning to gather, faint as an ember beneath ash. A sign that the long sleep, however tender, was never meant to last forever. Years fold over us like layers of mist. Snow, thaw, blossom, shadow. Each season arrives on the heels of the last, then drifts away again. We grow taller and quieter. Our roots deepen, our branches spread, and the tower remains at our center like a held breath. The girl still sleeps. Her lantern still burns. We still keep watch. In the early decades, many feet try to cross our border. Knights in bright armor, their horses snorting clouds into the cold air. Hunters in worn leather, eyes sharp, arrows ready. King's messengers on sleek, restless steeds. They speak of glory and discovery, of breaking enchantments and claiming rewards. These words ring strangely against our bark. We have no need for glory. We only understand care. So we guide them away. A fog thickens when their boots near our roots. Paths seem to fork where no fork exists. Branches lean down, whisper and scrape, turning their faces back toward the open road. They grow uneasy. They say the forest feels wrong. They leave. We let them. Decades become gentle. With the loudest seekers gone, the quiet ones start to appear. A poet once wanders beneath our trees, clutching a thin journal to his chest. He does not come for treasure. He comes because the world outside feels too loud, and he has heard rumors of a silence that can hold a man together. We part our branches for him. He walks slowly, touching bark with the back of his fingers. He listens to the distant hush of the sleeping tower and does not try to climb its steps. Instead, he sits on a moss-covered stone and writes. His words spill out like thawed snow into a stream soft, grateful, surprised. He stays until the twilight turns blue, then rises, bows once to the quiet, and leaves. We remember his footsteps long after they fade. Children come too, though rarely. They arrive chasing birds or drifting music from a festival beyond our edge. Their laughter is quick and bright, skipping ahead of their feet. We watch them closely. If they stray too far, a route always appears where none was before, turning them back towards safety. A patch of sunlight opens between our leaves, drawing their eyes away from the tower, back to meadows and home. We do not let them near her, not because they mean harm, but because she deserves a gentler waking than confused eyes and small startled hands. So the years continue. We grow used to this slow dance, letting some in, sending others away, always circling around the room where she dreams. One autumn, The world beyond our borders grows restless. We feel it in the distant tremors of marching boots, in the acrid bite of smoke drifting on high winds. Voices shout, metal clashes. For a time, the sky above us glows red at night. But that turmoil never quite reaches our heart. We thicken our leaves. We sway together. We remember that our task is not to join the noise, but to shelter a single quiet life from it. Combatants who stumble toward our shade feel their anger dull at the edge of our shadow. They sit. They stare at the still water. Some weep without knowing why. When they rise again, they leave their weapons leaning against stones and walk away lighter. We let the metal rust. We keep the peace. As the 100th year draws nearer, though numbers mean little to us, we sense a change. Not outside, where people still forget and remember in cycles, but inside our own rings and roots. The lantern's flame in her tower seems to glow a touch warmer each night, its light reaching farther across the stone floor. The dust motes that float in its beam spin more readily, as if stirred by a breath. We feel new sap rising earlier each spring. Leaves appear more eager, unfurling at the first hint of warmths. Birdsong returns, tentative at dawn, then stronger, like someone trying out a long-forgotten melody. It feels like a question slowly forming on every branch. Is it time? Then one evening, as fog creeps low and the world turns the color of ink, we notice him. A traveler stands at our edge, cloak damp from a long road, boots stained with earth from many places. He carries no banner, no armor, just a small pack, a walking stick, and a look in his eyes that is not hungry for legend, but full of quiet wonder. He listens before he steps. That is how we know. We send a breeze to test him. It carries the scent of moss, distant bells, and the faintest hint of lavender from the tower room. His shoulders soften. He closes his eyes for a breath, as if recognizing something he has missed without knowing its name. We part our branches. The path appears, not fully, not straight, but enough. He walks slowly, hand brushing bark, boots careful on the stones. He does not break twigs for the sake of the sound. He does not speak to fill the silence. Instead, he lets our quiet seep into him. His heartbeat adjusts, falling into rhythm with ours. We guide him past the places where others once turned back. The suspended bird above the river, the rusted metal half swallowed by roots, the circle of mushrooms glowing faintly in the dusk. He sees these things and does not demand their meaning. He simply accepts them, his gaze full of a gentle awe that feels to us like respect. At last, he reaches the clearing before the tower. The vines shimmer with a film of rain. The lantern's light spills through the narrow window, painting a thin golden line on the ground. He looks up, not with conquest, not with entitlement, but with a softness that loosens something deep in our bark. We feel the girl's breath change, just a fraction, a deeper inhale, a longer exhale. Not an awakening, not yet, but the first small ripple in the lake of her long sleep. We close around them both, the sleeper in her room, the wanderer at the tower's base, and know, with the certainty of roots wrapped around stone, that the 100 years of holding are almost done. Change is coming, not like a storm, but like the turning of a page, quiet and inevitable. And we, the forest, are ready to let the story move. Night gathers softly around the tower, folding into every branch and stone. The traveler stands at the base of the ivy-covered wall, his breath steady, his hands resting lightly on the walking stick. He doesn't call out. He doesn't move closer. He simply looks up at the warm lantern glow, the quiet heart of this place, and waits. We feel the stillness inside him, a gentleness that matches our own. It settles through our roots like a whisper of spring. Inside the tower, the girl shifts ever so slightly. A long, slow inhale, the first in a century that belongs to waking rather than dreaming. Her fingers uncurl. Her lashes flutter like moth wings brushing against dusk. The air in the room warms, stirred by her small movements, and the lantern flame leans toward her as if greeting an old friend. We, the forest, feel it immediately. The hush we have held for so long loosens, like a bowstring eased after a final note. Branches sway, not with wind, but with relief. The river exhales, its surface rippling for the first time in a lifetime. And as she draws another breath, the suspended bird above the water completes its forgotten arc, a single graceful sweep of wings. The traveler steps closer to the tower door. Vines shift aside, recognizing the end of their vigil. He lays one hand against the wood, not to force it open, but to honor what waited inside. The door, long untouched, eases inward on its own. Dust rises in a soft cloud, lit by the lantern's glow. The traveler enters with the quiet reverence of someone stepping into a dream. We follow him with our senses, through stone corridors, past the small stairwell, where ivy crept slowly down the wall, into the room where she lies. Her eyes open at last, not abruptly, but like blossoms warmed by a faint sun. She sees him, a stranger, yet gentle, and in her gaze is no fear, only calm recognition, as if some part of her always knew kindness would be the first thing she met upon waking. The forest holds its breath. She rises slowly, steadying herself on the edge of the bed. The traveler offers no hand, no urgency. He simply stands near, letting her find her own balance. When she steps toward him, the floorboards sigh in relief. A century of quiet lifts from the room like evening mist. Together, they walk to the doorway. The vines glide back, making space not through command, but through gratitude. Outside, our branches bend low in welcome. Moonlight slips through leaves, gilding their path with soft silver. As they cross into the clearing, the forest exhales. Birdsong returns, one note, then another, hesitant but bright. The river begins to move again, carrying reflected stars downstream. Life resumes, not with noise, not with celebration, but with peace settling gently into every root. The girl lifts her face to the night air. The traveler stands beside her, quiet as the trees. And we, the forest, gather around them like a long embrace finally released. If sleep has found you, let it keep you.